He shouldn't have entered that room horror film. They say that behind every great horror movie is an even more horrifying true story. And though we may think we're all familiar with the most popular ones, there are still plenty of terrifying tales out there waiting to be discovered. That's why in today's video, we'll be sharing 8 horror movies based on true stories you probably haven't heard before. So make sure you stick around until the end to not miss the last one. Also, remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this one. It's A Woman in Black. In the small town of Kingston upon Hull in England, there was a woman who was known locally as the Woman in Black. She was said to haunt the streets at night looking for victims to attack. Her first target was her own husband, whose death she was said to have caused by tampering with his medication. After that, it was rumored that she began killing other people, most of them elderly and living alone. The bodies of these people were found mutilated and drained of blood. And while it was never proven that the Woman in Black was responsible, many believe that she had fled to South Africa after being charged with the murder of a young mother named Paula Clennell. A film based on these events was released in 2012 starring Daniel Radcliffe, The Amityville Horror. Amityville Horror is probably one of the most famous haunted house stories ever told. It follows the story of Ronald DeFeo, who murdered his entire family in their home in Amityville, New York. But it wasn't long before strange things began happening in the house. People reported seeing ghosts, hearing footsteps, and even shaking beds. As time went on, the hauntings became more intense, and even the police were called in to investigate. Over the years, there have been many theories as to what really happened in the house. But one thing is for sure, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. A series of movies were made based on this terrifying tale. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. When Emily Rose's behavior suddenly changed, she became violent and started speaking in tongues. Her family knew something was wrong, so they took her to see a priest who performed an exorcism. But this was no ordinary possession. As the exorcism continued, Emily's behavior grew more and more disturbing. She levitated, she spoke backwards, and she even ripped out her own teeth. Eventually, the priest was forced to call in backup, and what they discovered was truly terrifying. Based on the exorcism of a real girl from Germany, this film will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the devil. The Conjuring. The Conjuring is one of the scariest films ever made, and it's all because it's based on a true story. The film follows paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren as they help a family who is being terrorized by a ghost in their new home. But as they dig deeper into the case, they uncover a dark secret that will put them in danger. A series of movies and TV shows have been inspired by the Warrens' investigations, but this one is definitely the most spine-chilling. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the most iconic horror films ever made, and it's all because it's based on a true story. The film follows a group of friends who go camping in Texas only to be stalked and killed by a family of cannibals. While the film is obviously fictional, it was inspired by the crimes of a real-life killer named Ed Gein. If you want to learn more about this terrifying killer, then make sure you watch our video on him. We also made a video on Jeffrey Dahmer, another serial killer, whose story inspired some of the most terrifying horror films ever made. Grave robbers. Grave robbing is already a scary topic to think about. When it's used as inspiration for a horror film, it becomes even more terrifying. Imagine walking through the woods and coming across a graveyard only to find that someone has dug up the bodies of the dead. That's exactly what happens in this chilling film. A group of friends decides to play a prank by grave robbing a cemetery, but they soon realize that they're not alone. They're being watched by a mysterious presence, and they better get out of there before it is too late. This film is based on the true story of a man who was caught grave robbing in the early 1900s. As he was digging up the bodies, he was attacked by an unknown entity, and he ran away in terror. Nobody knows what really happened to him, but some believe that he was taken by the ghosts of the dead he had disturbed. The Haunting in Connecticut. The Haunting in Connecticut is a terrifying tale that will leave you questioning everything you know about ghosts. The story follows the real-life experiences of a family who moved into a home only to discover that it was built on top of a former prison. As they settled in, strange things began to happen. Doors slammed shut, objects moved on their own, and the family began to be tormented by the spirits of the dead. But as they dug deeper into the history of the home, they uncovered a dark secret that would change everything. This film is based on the true story of the Snedeker family and their terrifying ordeal. The Changeling. The Changeling is a horror film based on the true story of a man who moves into a house only to discover that it's haunted by the ghost of a little girl. At first, he tries to ignore the strange happenings, but as time goes on, the ghost becomes more and more aggressive. The man is eventually driven insane by the constant torment, and he must face the ghost and uncover the truth of her death. This film is a must-watch for any fan of ghost stories. And if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this one. What do you think about these horror movies based on true stories? Let us know in the comments below. Also, check out these other videos from us that we think you'll love. And finally, if you want to keep watching, click the video on screen now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.